Thank you everybody, and it's good to see so many of you here this afternoon. This is the first event in a series of events. We're hoping to run a much bigger event later in the year and to work with other partners on a project called London Briefing, which I'll mention towards the end. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you an overview of current funding opportunities, which will last about 20 minutes. And as Zoe said, after that you're going to hear from some of the partner organisations that we've been working with This presentation, by the way, is not in the pack, so you might need to take notes. If you want to buy one, we're selling it for £4.95, which is a bargain, £5 for a lot of information, and we'll send you a digital copy. You can see Caroline later to buy one or to register your interest. There is a longer version of this as well. But what the objectives of the presentation are to give you an initial understanding of funding and what's available if you're not sure at the moment, to enable you to identify some of the most common sources, and to be able to identify further and access further sources of help and support. One of the issues around funding, and I've been working in this area for about 20 years, is that there's no one common gateway, there's no one single source that you can go to get information about all types of funding. There are some websites, some organisations you can get a significant amount of information from, but you've got to do some research and you've got to customise that research, and that's one of the things that CNT has helped its clients, whether it's in the private sector or the non-profit making sector, over the past decade or so. Where are we now? Well, it's an interesting period. We're just before the general election, so funding from public sector sources other than Europe, which I'm going to mention very briefly later, is obviously going to be under pressure and at a premium. So we're going to focus on other alternatives to local authority, central government and other funding sources, although I'm going to mention it briefly a bit later. As I said earlier, there's no such thing as a one-stop shop in this area. So where does the support come from? Well, at national level, you have organisations like the strands of European funding, and a lot of very significant support is available for access around that. Then you've got regional funding, London and the South East in this case. Anybody heard of an organisation called the London Enterprise Panel? Anybody heard of that? Well, they're sitting on top of an awful lot of your cash. 1.35 billion in the new European programme that they distribute alone. They don't administer it, they distribute it to other organisations, just to show you the scale of the money that some of these organisations have. Then you've got others like the Greater London Authority, which is the Mayor, and the associated bodies like Transport for London. Then you've got universities and colleges in this area. Greenwich University and a whole range of other colleges provide support. Of course, we've got a representative here from Barking and Dagenham College, what do they call it now? Further education and higher education. Yeah, and a whole range of others. Then you've got local support. I mean, the local support is being under pressure. Your local authorities do provide some support, and we've got a number of organisations here today that provide support at local level. After I've finished, you're going to get a brief presentation from Devrin, who's here as representative from Bexley Council, about the TIC and its work for a few minutes. There are also other organisations, like, for example, East London Business Place, that provide support in East and South East London. So as you can see, there's quite a wide range of agencies providing support at different levels.